Invention Education, Portrait Strategy Starting Points, is a series of podcasts intended to share interesting, inspiring, and actionable information about invention education. Sponsored by the Lemelson Foundation and supported by the STEM Learning Ecosystems Community of Practice, this series is one of many ways we're aligning to help ensure that students get the tools and support they need to invent a better tomorrow. My name is Jeremy Shore, and throughout this series, we'll be joined by families, students, and experts in the field who will share their own experiences and lessons learned. You can find me on Twitter at Jeremy Shore. And today I'm excited to learn more about the ways that invention education can prepare young people for the global challenges of today and tomorrow. And I hope you are too. In this episode of Portrait Strategies and Starting Points, I'm joined by Wanda Ray. Wanda's a native of Atlanta with 4 adult daughters. While her family has always valued education, her passion has always been around finance and accounting. However, some of her daughters are very interested in inventions, as we'll learn in just a moment. Wanda, so tell me, did you yourself ever do any inventing when you were a kid?
I can honestly say I did not. Most of the closest I would come would be inventing massive doll houses from Barbie things, but no real inventions that, help shape the world that we're in today.
Well, listen, first of all, don't minimize that, right? Creating creative play and building and constructing is a really powerful form of invention. But I know what you're doing because I do the same thing when I talk to some of these people. I think about things that when I was a kid, I would have considered inventions, and then I meet these young people who have invented products that went to market and changed people's lives. But don't sell yourself short. That stuff's really important too. But that's true. You do have really an incredible story about your daughter. I know your daughter Naomi was involved in a pretty incredible invention experience. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So Naomi, I believe she was in her junior year at Charles R. Drew Charter School, and one of her teammates came up with the idea of building an invention that could help prevent hot car deaths for pets and for babies and infants. And, as you know, we've seen, unfortunately, a rise in those types of things in this country. And so the idea of let's build an invention that can help reduce, the number of that we see in that. So they came up with the whole idea of the design. They asked some of the parents for help with the technology, and then they pretty much brought the idea to life, where the invention would measure if there was weight in the back seat of a car, and once the driver got out, if the weight did not change or lighten within the back of the car, then it would send a signal to the driver and call their cell phone a couple of times. If they didn't respond or answer, then it would alert the police. So it was a pretty exciting invention. It was very exciting for the students and also the parents, just because we realized, or I guess some of the parents, we felt like we realized even more than the students to a certain degree how impactful this could be, for the community. While the great majority of parents are not going to intentionally leave their pet or their child in a hot car, just leave them, period. We live in such a busy world today that it sometimes it has happened. And I think sometimes it has honestly been unintentional. So we thought it was one of the greatest things since sliced bread, as the older generation says.
Absolutely. So is that a class or a project that she was taking where they had to invent something?
Yes, it was part of I don't want to call it the engineering class, but it kind of made me think of workshop, but it was led by their engineering teacher, Miss Beth White. And it was one of the major things. It required a lot of sacrifice for all of the students and Miss White and the parents, because they would come a lot of times on the weekends and all Saturday, all Sunday, working on this project. So it took and I don't mean just like, 1 or 2 weekends. It was over several months, a good 7 to 8 month period where they just came in and really nailed it and gave it all they could.
I don't know about you, but I think back to my high school time, and I can't really think of an assignment or a project that I had where what I was saying to my parents is, I've got to get back to the school this weekend. I need more
Right.
time. Which I think really shows the power here, right? When we give kids the opportunity to actually address a real problem, something that's impacted them or that they've read about, or that kind of hits them in the right place, it changes the motivators to be an internal one instead of just as external motivator of a grade or of a teacher approval. Is that kind of
Exactly.
how that impacted Wanda? Is that, I'm sorry, Naomi, is that kind of
Mhm.
what happened there?
I believe it is. And I will say, honestly, sometimes there were times where they were, different students would say, oh, I'm a little tired. I've got, some other homework that I need to do. But for the most part, they were all engaged and really want to see the project, to fruition and to see a completed invention that could help save lives.
So I want to know, as a mother, um, outside of just this project, but the experience of participating in it, what did it do to Naomi? How did it change her outlook or her, opinion of herself?
I think the project helped build more confidence, quite honestly, with Naomi. I remember when we were at one of the meetings where Miss White was saying that they had come to kind of like an impasse with the project, and they were having some problems with the functionality, and Naomi was instrumental in helping them figure out what exactly needed to be changed so that they could continue on and get to the next step, and so that the invention would actually work. So I believe it was definitely a confidence booster for her. And I think it was also great because even though Drew had a educational system set up where they worked on a lot of projects, the students didn't have to work on a lot of projects. I believe this was great because the project would help or could reach more people. Sometimes, even I think for adults in our day-to-day jobs, we work on things and sometimes we may not really see, how far it goes and how much of an impact it can have. But this one seemed to be, it was more clear that, this could have some far-reaching impact on more than just that class or the school, but it could really change the world.
Was Miss White or other teachers in that school, did any of them take on kind of a deep mentorship role with Naomi as she was traveling through high school and thinking about her life beyond high school?
Miss White did, and I think Naomi's counselor, who I can see her face right now, I just can't think of her name right now.
That's
So
okay.
I apologize for that. Oh, that is, and I think she just got engaged, so that's really not helping right now. But I think those two individuals were quite helpful to Naomi and gave her a lot of guidance that is, sorely needed at that point in life.
Yeah, it's a hard time, and it's a time when I think a lot of kids don't have a person who's not just encouraging them, but helping them navigate these really kind of difficult things and learn about the ways that they can make a difference.
Yes.
So this is 2 years ago, I think you said.
Mhm.
Where's Naomi now?
Naomi is, excuse me, in her junior year at Stanford, even though it's all online. But she's in her junior year. She's an engineering major, and she's just trying to finish strong, if you will. It's the third year, but she is still cranking the work
Yeah.
out. It's funny. She's out of our daughters, she's the one who seemed to have the most focus. in high school, and it would be to the point where if it were someone's birthday, my birthday's tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Happy birthday.
And thank you. And I'd be looking forward to, hey, let's go out to dinner after we get home from work and school. And Naomi would be like, no, I have this new project, or I have something, can we do it on the weekend? So even though she, was a social person, she was a very focused young daughter. And I could see it, my husband and I could see it in her sooner than we could see it in some of the others.
Well, Stanford's an incredible accomplishment. It was my dream school that I didn't get into. So I'm jealous. It's an incredible accomplishment, and you should be very proud from Invention Education, from this project to protect infants and pets, to engineering at Stanford, and who knows what's next. I'm really excited to kind of follow and see what Naomi continues to do, and the changes that she continues to make after joining this path. So thank you, Wanda. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for listening to Invention Education Portrait Strategies Starting Points, brought to you by the STEM Learning Ecosystems Community of Practice and the Lemelson Foundation. Thank you, Wanda, for joining me today. Please visit www.stemecosystems.org to hear more inspiring podcasts. My name is Jeremy Shore, and thank you for joining me.